Yeah, servlet lifecycle is what we were looking at last time, right? So, any questions? I think there was one of the methods I didn't put the entire name. I just said XXX. I think I can correct that now. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, anyone can tell me what was this? What are these 4 letters? XXXX. Anyone has gone through the servlet thing? And this was that method name. I think I didn't put the method name last time. This was get servlet info. So that way servlet interface. See, we're looking at the first one is the servlet interface. So servlet interface has these 5 methods. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. I think there was somewhere else also we mentioned this method name. Methods in servlet interface, and there again I put those dots. Yeah. Here. Yeah. So that was one thing. Any questions? Yeah, if you have questions, if you have tried something and if you have questions, yeah. Let's first let me first take the questions, whatever questions you have so far. Yeah, and I think yesterday actually I uploaded this servlet.txt, servlets.txt file. It's basically a notes on servlet. It goes right up to cookies and even the what is the session, that those topics are also there. We'll be covering that, but my idea was this. This is there so that you understand the whole thing. Okay, so if you have read the thing from there, if you have certain doubts, okay, you can ask, right? So feel free to ask any kind of doubts which you have related to whatever we have done so far. Yeah, any questions? And uh, uh, I think your lab has been set up, I believe, or are there some issues still? Yeah, related to lab, any issues are there or anything is there? Okay, lab is not set up. Fine. Fine. Then what I'll do is I'll just show you how exactly you can set it up on your machine. Right. Last time I think I was trying to show you certain things. Okay. Uh, okay. So I would prefer. See, there are 2 ways you could do it. Okay. One is, it's about, first thing is about getting Tomcat. Fine. We need to make Tomcat to work. Okay, that's the first thing. And for Tomcat, I have shown you where to find Tomcat, right? Tomcat 9 is what we should be using. Okay, fine. And there are a few other things, a few more steps which you can do after that. But one thing, okay, I think I have Apache Tomcat 9 zip file was there. Okay, this I had downloaded. I think I have shown that, right? So first thing is, this is one Tomcat zip file. Okay, another file which you find here. Okay, this is related to the documentation for Tomcat. Okay, there is one more file called Apache Tomcat 9 and full docs tar gz. Okay, so this is another file which you will need to extract. Okay, uh, fine. Now to make Tomcat work, what are the steps needed to make Tomcat work? I think I'll put them in the notes. Okay. 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 Fine. So download Tomcat zip file. I'm going with the method where we use a zip file. There are two options. You can either use the zip file, or in which case, yes, then it is not installed as a service, or you have it installed set up as a service. Okay, so it can be one of the services in your Windows environment. Okay, fine. I'll show the approach which may be taken when you use the zip file. Okay, fine. So download the Tomcat zip file. Fine. In our case, okay, I think I can copy this Apache Tomcat 9, this file name. Okay, so download zip file. Okay, extract it. Okay, fine. Now after extraction, move it to the appropriate place. Okay, that's what I'm assuming. Move it to appropriate directory and give whatever name you like. Okay. Okay, see why I'm saying give proper name. For example, I'll show here what I have done. Okay, so what I have done is I have extracted that and put the folder name as Tomcat 9. Okay, this directory is nothing but the extract of this. Okay, once I had extracted the zip file, I renamed and called it as Tomcat 9. Okay, fine. So first step will be this. Now a few requirements are there. Okay, second step, fine. Okay, in the environment variable, so this I'm in the Windows system environment. Okay, create a variable. Okay, create a variable called Java underscore home. Okay, fine, and value should be the JDK version. So this is the JDK home folder. So don't point to the bin folder within the JDK. Okay, I'll show here exactly what it is. Okay, for example, if I see if you go to CMD command prompt, okay, in that case there are a few commands which are simple. You can, if you just say set, okay, it should show you all the environment variables which are available. So here if I say set, oh, all the environment variables are here, and here one of the variables will be Java underscore home. Yeah, you can see this. So Java underscore home in this case points to program files Java JDK 21. It's not showing the bin folder within JDK 21. So wherever you have installed, whatever version of JDK you have installed, okay, just point to that. So you have this variable. That's what is one of the requirement. Okay, this will be a requirement that Java home is the variable which you should be creating, this Java home. Okay, so set this up. Fine. Okay, so once this variable has been set up, okay, Fine. Then you can go to the folder, that is whatever folder wherever Tomcat has been installed. So you can go to this folder. In this, let me show you. If you look at this directory here, okay, it has folder. Okay, one tar gz is okay. This actually is not needed here. This wasn't there. Okay, it has been copied from the earlier folder. This is again another download you can have. Okay, so actually I would advise that you download this. I'll show you why. Okay, you will have the bin folder. Important folders here are bin, conf, lib, and even the logs folder, where you know, for a lot of if you would like to do some diagnostics. Okay, if you find some problems are there, how do you diagnose? Then you will need the logs folder also. You need to go and examine into the logs. Okay, temp folder is fine. Work folder, we may have to have a look at it at a later stage. But web apps, that's a folder where all the web applications are deployed. Okay, fine. So initially it comes with some of the web applications already available. Okay, and we'll see how those are there. So the folder structure is like this for Tomcat. Okay, fine. Okay, now to start, now in order to start, right, what you should be doing is go to the bin folder. Okay, and here if I look at the directory, okay, there are these startup and shutdown files. You can see one is a startup.batch file, other is the shutdown.batch file. Okay, so these are the files which are used for starting and stopping a Tomcat. So if you want to start Tomcat, okay, go to the bin folder. Okay, like here I have currently gone into the bin folder and just say startup. Okay, so if I use startup command, fine. Yeah, but before this, you understand, I have already, in my case here, I have already set up the environment variable. Okay, fine. That you should know in Windows how to set up an environment variable. Java_home, that environment variable is necessary to be set. Otherwise, this will not start. Okay, and then I just say startup. So if I just give the startup command, yeah, here is, it has started. Yeah, the server has been started now. Okay, so Tomcat server has been started, and you can see the last line which says Catalina start server startup, fine, in so many seconds. So it has finished the startup part. Okay, so when it is doing the startup, yeah, it's during this that it is loading the web applications. Okay, fine. So all the web applications which have to be loaded, you know, I was talking that a servlet context object is created when you start Tomcat. So servlet context for each of the deployed web applications. And what are the deployed web applications? Oh, those are the web applications. Yeah, we can go to that same command prompt. Let's see the directory here. Okay, so we just started Tomcat, fine. So this is startup command given, and Tomcat has been started. You can go back one folder up, one level up, and here, okay, we can go into the web apps folder. Okay, just see what are the applications here. Oh, we created academic folder. Yeah, so that was one web application we have defined already. Yeah, okay, fine. So we have one web application called academic already defined. There is docs, there is examples, host manager, manager, and root. Manager is one of the web applications, right, where I think last time I have shown you tomcat-users.xml file, yeah, which is in the conf folder. Fine. Here there is one tomcat-users.xml. You can see that, right? This file. Okay, and in this we actually created one user called admin and give the appropriate rights to it. Fine. We rights in the sense the role was assigned to the Tomcat users. Fine. Okay, so it was something like GUI manager. That was the role which is required. so that we can access this application. See, once I have done the startup, right, now I can go into okay, let me open another window. Okay, let's open a new window. Okay, let me start a new window here. And here, now it's on this machine itself. Otherwise, whatever is the IP address where you have started the server, Tomcat server. Okay, here in this case, I'm just using localhost colon and 8080. Port number 8080 is the default. Fine. Fine. It can be configured. You can change that, and for that, it would be in the conf folder. Again, there is one server.xml file there. Okay. So here you can see one of the application. There is one link for manager app. Okay. Fine. So if I use manager app, here whatever I have created the username and password which I have defined in the Tomcat users.xml, that is what I am going to be using. So that in this case I have used admin and password also given as admin. Okay. So and it's able to log in as admin. So the manager web application, okay, is actually showing us the list of all the deployed web applications. So here you can see. And you can start a web application, you can reload the web application. So it will do a shutdown and a stop and a start. Okay. Don't use this undeploy. Fine, it may even remove the folder for the application. So don't do this undeploy for anything, right? Okay. Fine. So here is the list of web applications. So whatever was there in the web apps folder, that's available. You can see one of the folders, one of the applications is the docs. Fine. Okay. Okay, let's go to the docs. Fine, let's see. So if I go to the docs folder, okay, in the references, if I go to the references here, I want to look at the servlet documentation basically related to the servlet API. So if you want to see the servlet API, yeah, we have a link here and it says, okay, servlet 4.0 Java docs. Let's check what happens here. Oh, you can see what it says. Right? So it simply shows that the servlet Java doc is not installed by default. Okay. So by default, the docs which you are getting when you just install the Tomcat, there is one docs application, but whatever docs is there, it does not include the servlet Java doc. Okay. So download and install the full docs package to get it. Fine. So I'll show you how you can do this now. Fine. So there is a on that same Apache Tomcat site, there is a link to download the full documentation. Here, what I was showing here. Okay. Fine. This is that file, the tar.gz file, which we have here. Okay. Fine. This is the tar.gz file. This is to be extracted, right? And okay, so what we do here is we can just go to the web apps. I'll just move to the web apps folder. Oops. Okay, and here, okay, we have one docs, right? Now what I'll do here is I don't want the docs. Now, since the Tomcat is still running, I don't want to make changes to the web apps folder. Fine, it's not a good idea. While Tomcat server is running, don't do this. Okay, don't make changes in the web apps folder straight away. Okay, so let's move to the bin. Okay, and do a shutdown. And so first I'm just shutting down the Tomcat. So Tomcat has to shut down. Okay, and since Tomcat has shut down here, in this case here, right? So if I go back, okay, fine. Here it is showing, but yeah, let's see. Let's go back. Okay. Okay, I'll just click localhost 8080, press enter. Okay, so it seems shutdown is not yet completed. This. Oh, yeah, sorry. Fine. So it was trying, see the shutdown is over, right? It has shut down, and therefore this localhost 8080 would not work now. Okay. Okay, let's go back to this command prompt. Fine. So we are keeping it shut while we change the things in the web apps folder. Okay. Okay, now in the web apps, what are the changes we'll do? See, we are interested in the full documentation. We are interested in the Servlet API to be available, right? So one thing, let me move docs. So it's like renaming docs as old docs. Okay, I'm not removing it. I'm just moving it as and calling it as old docs. Okay, and then let me extract. So how do we extract? There is a tar gz file, right? So how do you extract? See, this is actually a Linux command, originally a Linux command, but I think it works on PowerShell in Windows also. So tar is the command to extract from tar gz. Okay, so tar minus z, because it's a gz file, zxvf. Okay, zxvf and dot dot, fine, because that's where we have this Apache tar gz file. So yeah, Apache Tomcat 9.0. So this is that full docs tar gz which was actually downloaded from the website. So I'm just extracting it in under the web apps folder. Okay, so we have extracted so now if you look at the directory here, oh, there is one additional folder called tomcat9.0.doc. Okay, now what you should be doing here is move Tomcat 9.0 doc as docs, the original docs which was there. Okay, fine. We had that original docs which we renamed as, called it as old docs. Whatever we have extracted, now we are calling it that one as docs. Okay, and we'll go back to the bin, and sorry, here is bin, and we'll do the startup. Okay, fine. Now we have done the startup. We have got a updated docs folder now. Okay, yeah, so in the startup, yeah, this is where we were trying. Let's try again. So yeah, it has started, and manager app. Okay, here is the fine. And now in the manager app, yeah, you can go for docs here. Okay, that's one option. Okay, so if I go for docs, here are the documentation, and in the docs you can see that reference is still there. And in the references, let's go for the Servlet 4.0 Java docs. So here, oh, it's still showing the old one. Full docs. One second. Okay. Java docs. JSP 2.3. I think it's coming from the cache or something. Probably it's going through the cache. Okay, we need to be removing the cache or something. Okay, fine. What we can always do here is we can open it directly. Okay, let me open it as a file itself. Open file. Okay, here is the Tomcat 9 and web apps. There is this folder called docs, and we can open the index here. Okay, here I think folders are coming first and indexes is down. Okay, here is the index. Okay, fine. So I have opened it as a file. Okay, and let me now check here. Hopefully this should work. Yeah. Okay, you can see this, right? So Servlet 4.0, mostly I think there was some caching problem which was there with the server, and that's the reason. Okay, so but yeah, you could have actually done the extraction and then this should work, right? So here you can see what is there in the Servlet API. So Servlet API has actually, so yeah, it has got one javax.servlet package. There's one javax.servlet.http. These are the two important packages, okay, which are originally there. Later, these two other packages have also been added. Okay, one is because there were a lot of annotations which were added. So javax.servlet.annotation and javax.servlet.descriptor. So these two additional packages have come at a later stage. Okay. Fine. So originally, yes, there is javax.servlet and javax.servlet.http. Okay. If you would be reading that servlets.txt, I think I mentioned about these two packages only, right? These two packages have not been mentioned there. Okay. Fine. So javax.servlet in this package, yeah, this is the more generic one, because servlets is not the specification for servlet is not supposed to be used only for HTTP protocol. It may be used for any other request response based protocol. Fine. Anything which is based on a request and a response, any other protocol, for them also the same specifications can be used. Okay. Only thing, someone will have to develop the appropriate server for that. Okay. Fine. So, like for example, in our case here, we are using Tomcat server, right? Tomcat is just one of the servers which is available. Okay. Fine. So now here you can see there are all of these are the lot of classes and interfaces. So these are the interfaces initially. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Now some of the interfaces which we are looking at in this case, one is the servlet context, right? This I have mentioned about these, right? So servlet context, it is created one per deployed application. So when it will start, right? When Tomcat would start, one object corresponding to servlet context would be managed, okay, for each and every web application. So one web application, there's one servlet context created, okay. For one web application, there will be multiple servlet, right? And what are the deployed servlets in a particular web application? That information comes from the web.xml file. Okay. So for each of them, there would be a servlet config object created, and here is the servlet config. Okay. So if you look at the servlet config interface, yeah, the methods which are available here. Okay. These are the methods. Fine. So servlet so one is a reference to the servlet context. From servlet config, you can always access the servlet context. Okay. And these are the other methods. A servlet, there is a servlet name. Okay. And there are parameters for the servlet. Okay. If you recollect, there is this servlet name which is in the Tomcat, in the web.xml file, we give a servlet name. Fine, you recollect that web.xml file, the way it is written? There is one servlet entry. So when you have a servlet entry, there is a servlet name, right? And then there is a servlet class. So when you have that servlet class, the corresponding servlet object is a separate object. Okay, fine. That would also be getting created. But before servlet can be created, servlet config has to be managed. Okay, so this servlet config will have the name, whatever is the name in the web.xml file. Okay, and when we have the web.xml file, we can specify the init param. If you recollect, there is something called init param name, param values. Those were I think I'll show from last time's notes. If you look at that notes again, yeah, okay, here. So for each servlet entry, right? This is how a servlet config. So when it creates a servlet config, it gets it takes the name from here, okay, and init parameter, any number of parameters which you may be having here. Okay, this is one parameter. So the parameter name and value, which is what is to be made available. So if someone specifies a name, the corresponding value should be made available, right? So if you look at the methods, here are the methods. It says get init parameter. If pass a name, get the value. Okay, you want to know the list of all the init parameters for this particular servlet entry. Okay, so get init parameter names, right? So those two methods, right? So that returns an enumeration. Acha, enumeration. Have you known this enumeration earlier? You haven't come across enumeration any other time earlier? Or you know this enumeration already? It's in the java.util package. Yeah, knowing enumeration what it is? No. Okay, fine. You have done the collection framework, right? Java.util package, there is this collection framework, right? Okay. Now, even before the collection framework, because collection framework was in Java 1.2, okay, but earlier, prior to Java 1.2 also, data structures were there. We didn't have array list, but something equivalent of an array list was always available. Okay, there is something called vector, which was more commonly used earlier. Okay, so prior to Java 1.2, vector was one of the data structures which was used, and there one interface was used. That interface is called enumeration. Enumeration is very similar. It is much closer to the iterator interface. Iterator. You know, iterator has those methods next and has next. Okay. Same way, enumeration also has method. It has two methods, enumeration inter. And instead of saying has next and next, equivalent methods basically, it has a method called, instead of has next, it has more elements. The method name is only, difference is the name of the method. Okay. It's just like the iterator. The has next has changed to has more elements. Okay, that's what it was. So more verbose name, and instead of saying the method called next, the method name here was next element. Okay, so two methods in enumeration, has more elements and next element. Fine, but this is just like iterator only. Fine, so you can think, so if you say get init parameter names, that should give you a enumeration. And enumeration is just like a iterator. Okay. So through this you can access the various parameter names which are there in the servlet, available through servlet config object. Right? So servlet config's role is to make available all this information. Okay, as well as to make available the servlet context object. Okay, this is what the role is. Okay. See, these are the methods of servlet config. I was showing array. Sorry, this is enumeration of string. Yeah. Okay, so here I'll put it here itself, methods of enumeration. Of some type T, okay, or some element type E, let's say. Public method returns boolean has more. Okay, that's one method, and public method returns E next element. And just remember these two methods. Okay, so that way you should be able to use all the init parameters if you want to specify in your servlet entry. So you can see servlet web.xml is a configuration, right? So when you deploy your same web application in different server, okay, you may like to change the deployment descriptor, change the entries there. So at one deployment you might use a particular set of init parameters, another place you may change the init parameters, right? Your code is not changing. It's what is changing is only the parameters. Okay, and those parameters are then available at runtime to your servlet. Okay, so the whole idea is to make everything available to the servlet. Okay, so even before the servlet starts, all of this thing is happening. Okay, fine. So this is the servlet config, and we may have a look at the servlet interface also. And this was the servlet config. Okay, prior to that, yes, here is the servlet interface. Okay, so servlet interface, this will have the lifecycle methods now. So there are 5 methods, out of which there are 3 lifecycle methods. When the servlet is initially started, right, it would be managed. The very first method it has to invoke is the init method. Okay, but before it calls the init method, the servlet config would have been initialized, set up already. So servlet config has the servlet context as well as those init parameters and the servlet name. So it has actually seen the entire deployment descriptor, and then this is called. Okay, so servlet can read, it's like servlet is able to read information which you have given in the web.xml file through these objects, servlet config and the servlet context object. Okay, fine. So init is one method, first method. So this is your initialization, right? Called initially when the servlet is getting loaded. So servlet is loaded and this method is invoked. So initialization is done. Fine. So this is what would be done for all the servlets across all the web applications, right? So each and every servlet init method is called with its corresponding servlet config. Okay, fine. And then the server is ready. Then the server becomes ready. Okay, so before this server is not ready, no request would be entertained from a client. Okay, before all these init methods are called. Okay, so first is init methods getting invoked, and then server becomes ready for accepting request. Okay, once a request arrives, okay, then it will have to identify this request corresponds to which servlet. Okay, and on that servlet, right, this request which has come is corresponding to which servlet. So when the request arrives, one thing it will have to do is whatever information which comes as part of the request, okay, that it encapsulates in an object of servlet request. So it has to manage a servlet request object where it initializes the servlet request by using the information coming from the client. Okay, fine. I think if you read that servlets.txt, fine, this is all that what I have described there also. Okay, fine. So servlet request object will be initialized from information which has come from the client. Okay, fine. And then a servlet response object is also created because it is allocating a buffer. It allocates a buffer and creates an object of servlet response and invokes this method on the servlet. So it's to the servlet. Fine. See, servlet is the component which is created by the developer. Okay, application developer creates a servlet. Okay, other components like servlet request, servlet response, they are not created by the developer, right? Okay, those implementations are done by the Tomcat in our case. Fine, when you are using Tomcat, whatever server you are using, right? Fine, they have these implementations, so you don't worry about you. What you need to know is, oh, what information I'll be able to extract from that. So these are nothing but objects through which you are interacting with Tomcat basically. Fine. Tomcat's responsibility is, that server's responsibility basically is to make available the information which has come from the client to our developers component. Developers component is servlet. Servlet is what has been created by developer. Okay, so servlet request and servlet response. It says, okay, here is what has information come from the client, and here I am giving you one response object, servlet response object, which contains a buffer. Okay, so whatever response you want to send to the client, fill it up in this buffer. So you need to fill the servlet response object. Right? Servlet response has a buffer and you need to fill that buffer. Okay, so a developer's role will be like, okay, fetching information from the request, fine, and putting a response into the servlet response object. Okay, putting the content, what is the content that should be shown to the client. Fine. So this is that regular method which is getting invoked. So service is the method basically which is about fulfilling a client's request and giving back a response. Fine. So this is the one which is regularly called, and later when what will happen is, whenever someone wants, maybe if the application is to be, someone says, oh, let me stop the application, right? Someone says stop that application. We have that manager application from where we can see all the web applications. We want to start or stop, or we want to restart a particular web application, we can do that, right? We had seen that. Okay, so when you stop that application, it would first invoke the destroy method on the servlet, saying, okay, this servlet is now going out of service. Okay, and so that's a destroy method. So 3 lifecycle methods. So if someone says, what are the lifecycle methods? Oh, there are 3 lifecycle methods. First lifecycle method is the init, called only once when the servlet is loaded. Okay, service is the method which is called each time a client hits a URL corresponding to this servlet. Okay, fine, each time. So you know, there will be multiple clients which will be invoking this method, and maybe there are multiple threads in your server. So simultaneous invocation of service method for various clients can also be happening. Okay, yeah. So service method is the one which is actually the regular method being invoked on a servlet. And then if the application is being shut down, yes, it will be calling the destroy method before it takes the servlet out of service. Okay, so 3 lifecycle methods. But one thing, if you look at the first lifecycle method, in the first lifecycle method init, okay, there is a parameter called servlet config. Fine, and we understand that through the servlet config object, okay, through this servlet config object, the init the information from web XML, right, the deployment descriptor, that's actually available. Basically, it is able to interact with Tomcat, because when we say servlet config is making available the init parameters, okay, which is in the web XML file. You can even know what is the name given to this particular servlet. You can even interact and get the servlet context object. Now that servlet context object is nothing but the object corresponding to your web application. It is basically one object through which you can interact with the Tomcat. Okay, fine. You can, it can even be used for interacting with some other web application. Fine. In some cases, if there are appropriate permissions, right, it's possible for a component, a servlet in one application to interact with a component, another web application also out. So you can go beyond your web application also, fine, provided there are appropriate permissions available. Okay, so that kind of thing is possible. So that is through servlet context, but one thing. Okay, so fine. So clear, this is how this design has been, like design for our servlets. So the servlets have been designed in this manner, so a regular invocation of this. Okay, so this is a more generic part, right? Okay, fine. From, I think you want to, I'll show it in the diagrammatic form again if you want to understand it again. Is this part clear? Any questions on this? The working of a servlet, the life cycle. Okay, okay. Let's finish all the 5 methods here. So three lifecycle methods we understand they are getting invoked by the Tomcat, right, or whatever is a web container. We call it as even web container. Right? So web container invokes init. In the init method is passing the servlet config. Okay, web container can be invoking this, will be invoking service method regularly, and finally it will be invoking the destroy method also. Okay, but this interface is, you also need to implement two more methods. There's one method called get servlet config. The whole purpose of saying get servlet config is that when someone calls the init method, the implementation of init must save the object of servlet config as some instance variable, so that if someone says get servlet config, that object should be made available. Fine. So servlet config object needs to be set. That there's a necessity for that, and that's what it has done. Okay, so it has just provided one get servlet config method, and we have this get servlet info method, which is just nothing but some kind of a small information related to your servlet. Okay, so if you are writing implementation of servlet, you can just override the get servlet info method. Fine. Okay, so this is what is a interface, servlet as an interface. So if you want to write and do last time have we done this? Did we show hello servlet, hello world or something like that, some message? Have you seen that? We have done one. I think we have done one. Okay. Have we done the hello servlet? No. Hello servlet was not done. Implementation. Let's check this. Okay, it's not done. Yeah. Okay, let's do a simple hello world. Hello servlet. Yeah. Okay, let's create a hello servlet. Fine. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. Any question? Yeah. Someone has a question? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone has tried the, okay, first part, let me just see. And any one of you has been able to set up Tomcat? Because I think you're saying the lab is not yet set up. So have you been able, any one of you has been able to set up Tomcat and make it work? Yeah, no one? Or see, I just want to know if anyone finds a difficulty while setting up Tomcat. What is the difficulty you get while setting up Tomcat? If you got some difficulties there, yeah. Okay, I said, okay. Okay, I think I'll just put it. And what was manager or manager GUI? It is GUI manager, I think. Manager GUI or GUI manager, one of those things. Yeah. Okay. Setting up is, this is what is important. Okay. Yeah. So anyone has any questions related to this setting up also, you can ask. Yeah. If you find somewhere something is not working. Any one of you who has tried and has questions related to this? This also I have shown. Tomcat documentation, how to set up. Okay, all docs. Defining HelloServlet. Okay, we haven't yet done that. Okay, so I'll just like to use a demo here for HelloServlet and base servlet. So fine. I want to then going for a base servlet. We'll see what is that base servlet which I want to define. But first part is the HelloServlet. Okay. Fine. Anyone has questions? Yeah. If anything is unclear, you can ask me, I'll explain. Want to understand the startup again, or I have this actually, okay. You can read this. I have opened the servlet.txt also. This is what was done. Okay. Here I have explained what is the HTTP protocol like. Okay, some information from HTTP protocol has also been put here. Okay. Concept of headers and other things. What are the various headers which a HTTP protocol has? Yeah, and again, related to the response. When you get a response, right? This is the kind of response codes which are there. Okay. Oh. Okay, and there are some typos, I think. Yeah. So generic API is the when I say generic API, it's a javax.servlet package. Okay, and HTTP related things are actually extending from what was there in generic. So on a single server, there are various applications which may be deployed, right? So what is deployed is nothing but the various folders in the web.xml file, in the web apps folder. Okay, under web apps, whatever are there, that is what are the applications. There will be a number of servlets. Okay, yeah, so this is there. Okay, I have just related everything to the various methods which are available here. Okay, that would create. And so this is our first lifecycle method. Servlet config is a parameter. Okay, and here are the some. Say it's not a whole list, but yeah, here is an enumeration of string. Yeah, yeah. Okay. See, when I'm saying here using some administrative tools, so in our case we have used that manager app. Okay, recollect, where we can see the list of all the web applications. When we can start, stop, all those things are there. Okay. Now servlet interface, 5 methods. Okay. And this is okay. Then there is a lot of description on the servlet request. Okay, fine. Okay, so initially, even without going into what is there in the servlet request, okay, we can still write a hello servlet. Okay, there are a lot of things now which will go and talk about the servlet request. So I say what I'll tell you is go through this. I think I have written in a much simpler words, and if you don't understand, you can ask all this, right? So that will be one thing. Okay, but okay, so let me, I think, first give a demo of hello servlet, right? Okay, let's see how do we go about creating hello servlet. Okay, import javax dot servlet dot star. Okay, we'll also need java.io dot star. Okay, let's put a package. What is the package we give? org dot what was it? Rollwala? What was the package names we were? Some convention we started last time. Okay, for example, let's see this. What is the package? Oh, this is without the package. We haven't coded any Java file yet, anytime. Okay, no package. Okay, yeah, what convention do we want to follow? For packages, org dot, is it Rollwala? ROLL. W or V, what is it? Okay, it will be G. Okay, let's keep this as the package name. I think this may be removed. Yeah, we can just go with rollwala.servlets. Okay, fine. Let's keep this as the so base package will be org.rollwala. For servlets, yes, we'll have a package called servlet within that. Okay, let's have a public class called. Okay, and it has to implement the servlet interface. And so directly implementing a servlet interface, and then we'll see how to make this work. Okay, so what are the so we say it implements servlet interface. There are 5 methods to be implemented. Which are those 5 methods? Public void init. This will be given the servlet config as a parameter. Okay, so what should we do in this servlet config? And just initialize the when we need to save it. So we need one instance variable where we keep the object which is given in the init method. So whatever object we receive in the init, we'll save it. Okay, so this is what is being done, right? Okay, Fine. Then, okay, since we are saving it, other method which is needed is the servlet config get servlet. Okay, and this has to simply say return this dot config. Fine. What are the other methods? Public. Okay, we have void destroy. And we are not doing anything in destroy. Okay, since we are not picking up any resources here, we are not allocating any resources, right? For example, if someone was making some connection to a database, here you would close the connection. Okay, fine. In it you may occupy resources which you need, right? Destroy, release the resources. Okay, and we have a method to return a string. Name of the method is get servlet info. Okay, so what should this be having? Return a string. Okay, so yeah, so fine, it's just some kind of a copyright message. If you want, you can put that. Okay, but one important method is still missing, and that's the one which will be responsible for giving the responses. Okay, so we have the method returns void. Name of the method is service, and this takes parameters as servlet request and servlet response. Okay, what you will get is, okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, let's compile. So, okay, currently we are not doing anything in the service method, but we just would like to see how do we compile this now. Okay, how do we compile? Okay, so we'll have to save it. It's having a package structure. Let's create a package structure here. It's called org, and within org it is what was the name we gave for package? 1 second. Rollwala.servlet. Okay. And here you can save this as okay. So here we have created a HelloServlet.java. Okay, let us find. So first thing, let me show how you would be able to compile from the command line. Okay, here is the src folder. Okay, here is okay. So Java C, okay, minus D, right? And where do you want to save it? Dot dot backslash Tomcat 9. So destination will be in Tomcat 9. We have the application web apps folder, right? There's a web apps where we have the academic folder, and in academic folder have we created, okay, we don't have any other thing. In the academic folder, yeah, we would like to save. We would actually we'll have to create a yeah, academic. We need a few folder. I think I have mentioned about the folders, special folders. Okay, see in Tomcat 9, go to the web apps. Okay, here we have created an application called academic. I don't know why we have put the Java file here. It shouldn't be here. Anyway, here is the web.inf folder, and let's check this. It has only web.xml, right? And we want to create, what else is needed here? Okay, you can keep a classes folder here. Fine. All your class files, your servlet class files or any other Java component, right? Any Java component which you create must be there in the classes folders. The place for all the class files will be the classes folder. Okay. You can also have another folder. So let me complete it here. You can also create a folder called lib. So under web.inf, there are two more folders, subfolders of web.inf. One is a classes folder, other is the lib folder. Classes folder is the place where the class files will be available. Lib folder is the place where your jar files can be kept. You are using some special libraries. Fine. So when you use some special libraries, they'll be available as jar files. So if there is a jar file, keep it in the lib folder. If there are class files available, keep them in the classes folder. Okay. Fine. So here, let's go back and do the compilation. Okay, so we have the src folder, and in this we have the, okay, so from here java c minus d dot dot backslash, it is in Tomcat 9 web apps folder. Where do we want the class file to be generated? Okay, minus d is for the destination, right? When you compile, where the class file should be saved. Okay, the compiled class file, where will it go? Okay, so Tomcat 9 web apps, under web apps, which place? We have the folder called academic. In academic, we have the web.inf, okay, and that has the classes folder. So this is the destination. Okay, and what is to be compiled? org rollwala servlet HelloServlet. Fine, you want to compile this. Okay, but yeah, what will happen? Let's see. If we try compiling this, hey, it gives errors. And where are the errors? It doesn't understand servlets. Right? See, it doesn't understand import Java servlet, it can't understand. Import javax.servlet, it can't understand that. Right? See that import javax. At the end it says import javax.servlet.star. And that's an error. Package does not exist. Okay. So if you want to get rid of this, what is needed? We need to specify the place where the servlet, the entire Java API is available. Not Java, servlet API is available. So servlets are not part of the JDK, right? As I mentioned. So just plain JDK, no, it won't work. Okay. So what we need is, we need to specify a place where the, okay. So here, let me use one more switch, just like we have used a minus D switch for the destination. Okay. There is one more switch I'll use. I'll say minus class path or minus CP. CP stands for class path. Okay. And what's the class path? So class path will be dot dot backslash. In Tomcat 9, there is one folder called Tomcat 9. There is a lib folder, and in lib there is a servlet API.jar. Okay. And so let's compile this. Okay, I think it's now you'll have to specify that org rollwala servlet, and here, yeah. Okay, so that has one error. Servlet request. Okay, spelling okay, spelling error is there. Okay, so that's a typo. When clear, how do we compile this? Okay, it gets compiled. It's getting compiled, but one thing, the service method is not doing anything for us at the current moment. Okay. Okay, you want to see some output coming out? How do we use this? Okay, let's update the code. We just wanted to check the compilation part. Okay, compilation is working now. Okay, yeah. So what do we do in the service method? We are not interested in what is the information which is coming from the client. We just want to give a fixed response, right? Now, if you want to give a response, we have the servlet response object which contains a buffer. Okay, you want to write into the buffer, fine. So for that, okay, okay. So one of the things is response dot. Okay, let's check methods of the response. Yeah, we have the API available, right? Here is the servlet API. We can go to the servlet response. Let's check the servlet response. Okay, interface servlet. Here is a servlet response. Yeah, methods here in servlet response. Get buffer size, get character, get content type, get locale. Oh, okay, we'll try to understand all of them. Okay, there's this reset buffer and all. Okay, set. We can set the buffer size. See, there is a buffer which is available through the servlet response. So here you can set the content type. That's one thing you should be doing. Set the content type. Okay, so content type will be what kind of content are we giving as a response. So we are interested in giving a HTML response. Okay, this is what the kind of response we want to set. And now what is the response we want to write into it? So if you want to write anything into the response into the buffer, okay, we will first have to use a method here called there is this one object of type writer. This is your print writer basically. So use the get writer method, you'll get a print writer object. So we can do one thing, we can just say print writer. Okay, let's call the variable name as out equal to response.get writer. Okay, now here when you write something out.println, okay, okay, what do we want to put here? We would like to put the HTML. Okay, oh, you want to put the whole HTML. You know about this triple quote thing? That's a Java feature. Anyway, this is beyond. This is from Java 14 or 15, somewhere around that time. So it depends. So anyway, let's not use the new features. We can just say HTML. Okay. So you can have multiple lines like this, println and HTML. Then in HTML, you'll have the head. Okay. You can have the title. Okay. Okay. And now we can keep the body. Okay, so it's pure HTML that we are writing here, right? But this is being used within double quotes. Mark that. Okay, we are out.println, and then in double quotes, what we have is all HTML content. Body, in body we'll say h1 maybe, right? Just want to say h1. Hello world, and Okay, and so this is what you would like to do, maybe. Yeah. Okay, and so we can do this. Let's try compiling and trying to run this code. Okay, we compile this. Set content type. I think that's spelling mistake. Not context type. Okay, so we have the response.set content type. From the response, we get access to the buffer. And this print writer is nothing but access to the buffer. And when you write to the print writer, it is writing into the buffer. You are allowed to fill into the buffer with this. Okay, so let's do this now. Okay, so now it says there is IO exception, which one is cost or, and so you can put a throws IO exception here. Okay, so this has compiled, right? Fine, clear on this HelloServlet simple code. Fine, we know why we have done each of those lines. Or any questions on any of these lines which we have put here? Okay, fine. Now we can go to the okay, we need the proper web.xml file. Let's check the web.xml file here. We need an entry in this. We can even have multiple things. I think this is that same web.xml. Location of web.xml is the same. Yeah, web.xml. Okay, so let's look at the web.xml. So here description says this is a simple application. Here are the context parameters. We have set up these things. We will see how we may use them. Oh, we haven't put any servlet in this. Okay, let's put servlet. Okay, so we got one servlet, and maybe you want to create multiple objects of the same servlet. You can do that also, right? So in this servlet, right, we have the servlet name. You can decide to use any name. Okay. Maybe you would like to call it as my first servlet. And then the important thing is the servlet class. This is where you will have to use the name of the servlet class, org.servlet. Yeah. Okay, so at this moment, yeah, putting this is not yet sufficient. This is only saying, okay, you're asking it to create a servlet for, okay, that such a such object. So create one object, org.rollwala.servlet.helloservlet, create one object of that and use it, right? So create one object, but how should I be accessing it? For that, you will need a servlet mapping. Okay. In servlet mapping, what you need to say is, okay, this is the object name by which it is identified. So I have one servlet whose name is this, and you have this kind of, if you have a URL pattern, okay, called hello. Okay, just say hello, right? If someone says URL pattern is hello, I would like to use the hello servlet. Okay, fine. So if someone just says hello, yeah, sorry, here, sorry, we have to put a slash. We have to put a slash here in the beginning. Okay, slash hello. Okay, fine. So this is our web deployment descriptor. Fine. See, you are free to have multiple such things for one component, one object, which is this. You can have another servlet pattern. You can say if someone says hello, that's fine. If someone says hi, then also same object. See, it will be available. See, this is the URL which is hit by the client. The client will either say hello or client will say hi. Yet it's the same object which is to be used. So we have only created one object. Remember this. We have only created one object. Okay. Accessible by two different URLs. Okay. Fine. So mapping is, one is create the servlet object. This is one which says create the servlet object, and this is says map to the URL. Okay, this object to be mapped to a particular URL. Okay, and there are other ways of writing the URL pattern. We'll be studying that also. We'll even try it out. Okay, fine. But first let's see hello world in HTML, right? Let's see HTML response now. Okay, so this is what we have as our web.xml, and now here. Okay, let's go to the localhost colon 8080. Fine. I'm going to localhost 8080. Let's use the manager app. Okay, in this, since we have made changes into the academic, right? We have made changes there. Fine. Let's reload. Reload means it should reload the deployed application. So there are changes in the web XML. Do a reload here. Okay, it says reloaded application / academic, and just check that it is not in a stop state. Yes, it has. Fine. See, if it would be in a stop state, then the start would have been enabled. Okay, so it's in a running state currently. Okay, so running is true. And so this is what you should check, and then yes, since running is true, now we can open one more. I'll just open one more tab and just say localhost colon 8080 / what's the name for our application? Academic. Okay, that's the application name. Within academic, how do we access the servlet which we have defined? Either by using hello, or you can say hi, right? I just say hello. Oh, it's coming to hello world. Here, it's invoking our servlet. Okay, fine. Or another option is, instead of saying hello, you could have even said hi. Okay, it's coming. Fine. Maybe you want to see an error 404 not found. It's 404 not found. You give a different URL, it's not found. And let's see. Okay, it's coming. Fine, clear on this? Fine, so our first servlet, fine. Web.xml, that should be clear, one thing. Okay, we'll be adding more things into web.xml and see the corresponding, start using the corresponding API, fine, the servlet API, corresponding things there. Okay, we have to still see how do we fetch. Okay, you want to see how to print this context params. Okay, you want to see these parameters being printed there. Okay, you want for okay, what's these two different URLs for accessing the same object. Okay, you can have multiple objects of the same class being created again. Okay, see, for example, someone could have done this. Okay, he's going to have said, okay, my first servlet, okay, instead of my first servlet, you'll have to use a different name now. Okay, class will be same, but here is a different name. Okay, one more servlet. Okay, let's call it one more servlet. Okay, and here the second one, which is high, let me change this here. I just we understand, but for the same object multiple URLs are possible, right? But here I want to say one more servlet. Okay, fine. So there are basically multiple objects, but how do I distinguish between them, right? Okay, we'll have to make some changes in the code as well. Okay, in the code, so that we can see the distinction, because currently the code is giving a fixed response, right? So we want to give a response which actually sees something from the web.xml file. Okay, so what can be different in the two web.xml file? So in the two servlet objects, so that can be by using the init param. Param name. Okay, so this is like this here, and in this one, the parameter name is still this, what we are saying, high. Okay, fine. Parameters value is high. Okay, fine. And now what we will have to be doing is to show the difference, that yes, these are two different objects and they are being used. Okay, we will have to go to the make a change here. Okay, in this let's get the, okay, so one thing is let's get the things from the request, right? This will be available from the servlet config basically. When we saw it's the servlet config, right? So string greeting equal to get servlet. Oh, we even can use this dot config dot get init parameter for, so we can get the corresponding value of the greeting. Okay, and then when we are putting in the body, okay, we'll just say okay, this thing plus and this can be here like this. Okay, so we have something which is coming from the, this is coming from init parameter that comes from the web.xml file. Okay, it's a configuration deployment descriptor basically, right? Okay, let's so what do we do here? We need to compile again. Okay, it's been compiled and we will need to reload. Okay, so come to the manager. Okay. Academic, let's reload academic. Okay, so fine, so it's reloaded, and after reloading, let's check the two different URLs now. Okay, if someone says पहले सर अभी 4 बजे हमारा लेक्चर तो आने वाला है. हाँ, बस ये खत्म हो गया. But okay, so this is high, right? You can see this. I'm just giving the demo. Okay, and I'll commit all this. Okay, so the code which is there, I'll just commit. And just say hello. Right? Okay. Fine. So any questions anyone has got? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Then okay. So no questions. Okay. Now what I'm see, I'd like you to go through the servlets.txt. Okay. Go through it. You will have some, you'll get some questions from that text file. Okay, wherever doubts are there. Fine. So tomorrow, ask all those questions. Yeah. Uh, Cookie part and session part, you may leave it. Fine. There are two parts. There's some place where the cookie is being described and the session. If you can understand that also, it's fine. But yeah, we haven't taken it, covered it here. Okay. But all fine. Any questions which you have from the text file, fine, by going through the text file, or if you find that some place some explanation is missing, or there's something which is not easily followable, fine, you tomorrow you fine, point it out to me, fine, and we'll update this text file so that everyone can benefit from this. Okay, sir. Okay. And this, whatever I have done today, this web.xml file, right, and the source code, okay, fine, that will have, fine, I'll push it into the Git repository. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So have a nice day, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye.